Hey, it's Saul with another video, and today I want to address a bit of critique coming from players who have observed the new and improved Darkshore scenario for the Horde. This video is going to be full of 8.1 spoilers, by the way, so beware, and if you're new here, be kind, and please drop a like if you enjoyed yourself, and subscribe for more of this and all things Warcraft. On the 8.1 PTR, there is a sequence of events that takes place during a Horde scenario that lets you unlock the upcoming Darkshore Warfront, which sets up the Night Elves and the Forsaken for a conflict far more bitter and personal than the Arathi Highlands Warfront. I'm going to pick on one quest that I've observed is the source of this week's current saltiness. The quest is called Dark Ranger Roundup and instructs the Horde champion, who, by the way, here happens to be a paladin, High Lord of the Silver Hand, and supporter of light-related things, to kill Night Elves, who continue to resist, which is typical, but then to also raise them as Dark Rangers with the help of the Val'kyr, which is, wow, that's really different. This didn't go unnoticed about a month ago when this questline was first revealed, but at the time it was at least plausible that some sort of mind control shenanigans was going on. After all, what sort of Night Elf would be defending their lands one moment, gets killed, and then next they would turn on all they held dear unless it was mind control, of course. But more recently, a new cutscene was unearthed revealing the raised corpse of Derek Proudmoore, who clearly did not want to be raised, and clearly did not want to do Sylvanas' bidding, but she has other plans in mind. In this cutscene, it's really obvious that she's trying to break his mind in order to force him to do her bidding, whatever that's gonna be. This all but confirms that at least when it comes to reviving a human, they still have free will at first. The Forsaken who serve Sylvanas serve willingly, or at least they're not under some sort of forced mind control. But this then begs the question, what the heck is going on when Night Elves are raised? What possesses them to turn on the lands and the people that they've been defending for thousands upon thousands of years? Some of the critics have passed judgment. Bad writing, Blizzard, bad. I don't know if it's an accurate term or not, but at least in observation, it's a kind of a tired statement. This doesn't seem right, so it's bad writing, right? In a world of Warcraft where we receive bits and pieces of a story every week, is it so easy to judge? I will doubtlessly admit that there are significant details missing from this particular quest, small bits of flavor that would otherwise convince the players much better. Recent builds have helped demonstrate that Blizzard acknowledges the confusion. That, or they intended to put these elements in and have only gotten around to it, we'll never truly know. Anyway, in this build it is much more difficult to simply turn these Night Elf defenders into Dark Rangers for the Horde. Many of them in fact resist, and become angry spirits, attacking the champion with the very last of their essence. But still, some Night Elves turn, and the critics are still not having that. The assertion is that the Night Elves under this circumstance, fighting in defense of their home, would never betray their people. So in response, I'm going to provide two theories that aren't designed to convince you otherwise, but at least to get you to think. What would make the Night Elves turn after just being killed in the defense of their homeland? I'm using that phrase specifically because yes, there have been a few really bad apples, but none quite under this circumstance. The first theory is that while the Val'kyr might not induce some sort of mind control, they do touch on the darkness of the Night Elf spirit in some way. This is not supported with any direct evidence, hence my critique that this little detail isn't shown in-game, but we do notice a pattern during this questline with regards to Syrah Nightwarden and Delaran Summermoon. As you may know, Delaran died at the shores overlooking Teldrassil as it burned. She watched home lit on fire before her eyes. Syrah died during this recent Darkshore scenario at the hands of Nathanos Blightcaller, or to you, the champion, it just depends on what you chose. But she had died with doubt in Elune and wondering where Tyrande was, and she had traveled here to find her and retake Darkshore. These two, as well as maybe the Night Elves raised during this questline, carried a weight of despair in their final moments, or there was some sort of darkness lingering in them for a while. It wouldn't be too far-fetched to believe that when the Val'kyr raises anyone, human or Night Elf, that these negative sentiments are magnified. At the time of their deaths, would it be so unreasonable for these Night Elves to feel some sort of resentment to their leaders or to Elune? Could those feelings be twisted and enhanced into revenge and hatred? Before I get to the second theory, let me touch on the Val'kyr for just a moment. Until now, we haven't seen the Val'kyr raise anyone but humans. And feel free to correct me because I probably missed something. But clearly something happened to change this, and it hasn't been stated yet, so this I do hold criticism over. I could presume that it's been nearly 10 years since the Val'kyr first joined Sylvanas, and maybe in that time they simply learned how to raise non-human races, but I'm just filling in the blanks here. This still doesn't help many other critics who would rather die on the hill of the bad writing argument. Despair is not enough to make a Night Elf go wrong, they would say. To this I ask, and here's me getting into the next theory, when were the Night Elves these unshakable monoliths of loyalty? The Night Elves, more than just about any other race on Azeroth, have history, and the unique burden that they share just as much as the Nightborn is that, up until recently, they were alive for a very, very long time. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to go through the history of the Kaldorei with reckless brevity through the eyes of one observer, and here we go. Since 10 and some thousand years ago, this particular Night Elf has seen or heard it all. He's seen his once radiant Queen Ashara betray her own race to the Burning Legion. He's seen, or he's at least heard of, the betrayal of Illidan Stormrage, the rise of the Satyrs, and the exile of the remaining Highborn. Over these 10,000 or so years, there was no revival of the Kaldorei Empire, but a simple life of nature that he may or may not have supported, all under the direction of Malfurion and Tyrande. He saw the breaking of Fandral Staghelm and later his corruption. He saw his once glorious race band with lesser beings to beat back the Burning Legion, and now they intermingle. Since his people joined the Alliance, they've endured constant conflicts, one after another, culminating with the destruction of his home and the near extinction of his race. Sylvanas' Windrunner to this Night Elf must be nothing less than a monster. But this monster is just a blip in this man's memory. Over the span of 10,000 years, his leaders, his Queen Ashara, Tyrande, Malfurion, Fandral, their leadership led from the great Kaldorei Empire to this moment, under a black moon and the shadow of Teldrassil's corpse. Elune didn't save his people. The Empire is gone. Immortality is gone. The leaders of the Night Elves allowed the loss of everything. The champion of the Horde merely took his life. But the Val'kyr are offering a gift. Renewed immortality and vengeance for 10,000 years of failure from the leaders and the goddess that he put his faith in. So would it be so unreasonable that a small number of the Night Elves feel this way? Disenfranchised, still bitter over the fall of the Empire, and so many other things, and they place the blame on those who they trusted? And the other question is that enough for them to team up with the Butcher who burned their home down in the first place? Not to take this with any real context, but Six did. I see this development as one of those story bits that doesn't necessitate a clear explanation because there's plenty of history to draw upon and enough dirt between the lines to explain this otherwise impossible betrayal. But what do you think? Plausible mental gymnastics? I'd love to hear what you have to say, so share your thoughts in a comment below and I will see you next time. Until then, stay safe, stay happy, and stay breezy.